You're scrolling through your phone. You've just posted something, and now you wait. You pretend you're busy, but deep down, you're watching, refreshing, checking. Did they like it? Did they see it? Did they say something? And if they didn't, you start wondering, was it stupid? Did I say too much? Am I too much? This is not about a post. This is about your peace, slowly being auctioned off to people who don't even know you. You live in your head because they live in your head. Their opinions become your internal dialogue. You ask, what would they think? Before you even ask, what do I think? That's the trap. And here's the truth. You are not free if you need to be understood by everyone. You are not free if silence feels like judgment. You are not free if you adjust who you are just to make someone else more comfortable. And it's exhausting. But what if I told you there's a way out? Not by becoming cold, not by pretending not to care, but by learning to shift the weight away from them and back to you. This is the video you watch alone, late at night, because it hurts to realize how much of your life you've built around the fear of judgment. But it's also the beginning of something better. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be real. And you're stronger than you think. It's easy to blame yourself, to say, why am I like this? Why do I care so much what people think? But this isn't just your weakness, it's your wiring. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors didn't live alone. They lived in tribes. And in those tribes, approval wasn't optional. It was survival. If you upset the group, if you got excluded or exiled, you didn't just feel lonely, you died. So your brain evolved to scan constantly for danger, not just from lions or the cold, but from judgment, from rejection, from the smallest glance that said, you don't belong. Fast forward to now. You don't live in a tribe anymore, but your brain still thinks you do. Every time someone criticizes you, your nervous system panics, not because the comment is accurate, but because part of you still believes, if they don't like me, I'm not safe. It's irrational, but it's also natural. That's why so many of us shrink ourselves. Why we agree when we want to disagree. Why we stay quiet when our soul wants to scream. Why we say yes to things that drain us, just to keep the peace. Because we've been tricked by our biology. We think approval equals safety. But here's the twist. In today's world, what's safe is authenticity, not conformity. You don't get hurt because someone judged you. You get hurt because you believe their judgment means something about your worth. It doesn't. Their opinion is just noise, static. And when you understand that, you begin to hear something else, something quieter but stronger, your own voice. You're not broken for caring. You're human. But now it's time to evolve again, not for survival, but for freedom. When you were a child, love came with conditions. Smile when relatives visit. Don't talk back. Get good grades. Be polite, even when it hurts. And when you did those things, you were rewarded. Smiles, approval, attention, affection. But when you didn't, silence, disappointment, withdrawal. So, slowly, you learned. You learned to shape yourself into who they needed you to be. You became a mirror, reflecting what others wanted to see, instead of who you truly were. Not because you were fake, because you were smart, because you were a child, and children will do anything for love. We call it people-pleasing, but really, it's self-protection. You learned that being yourself was risky, so you adjusted. You stopped asking questions. You stopped expressing anger. You laughed when it wasn't funny. You said, I'm fine, when you were breaking. And maybe you still do, because that little voice still whispers, if I upset them, they'll leave. If I disappoint them, I'll be alone. But here's what no one told you. The love you had to perform for was never love. Approval is not the same as connection. Validation is not the same as belonging. You were never too much. You were never not enough. You were just surrounded by people who taught you to fear your own truth. And now you flinch when someone disagrees with you. Now you shrink yourself to keep the peace. Now you measure your worth by the reactions of people who don't even know who you are. But you don't have to keep living like that. You're allowed to unlearn. You're allowed to be honest. You're allowed to be fully you, even if someone walks away, because if they only stay for the version of you that pleases them, then they were never staying for you. We don't call it an addiction, but that's exactly what it is. Approval. The likes, the compliments, the nods of acceptance, it gives us a hit, a rush, a momentary spike of worth. And just like any addiction, the high fades, and you chase the next one. You post, hoping for feedback. You speak, hoping someone agrees. You dress, succeed, perform, all with a silent voice inside saying, "Do they see me now? Do they approve of me now?" And when they don't, you crash. This is how we become trapped. Not in chains, but in constant performing, in managing perception instead of living truthfully. We look like we have confidence, but it's not real. It's borrowed confidence, dependent on someone else giving us permission to feel good about ourselves, and that's fragile. Because what happens when the comments stop, when the people disappear, when the applause goes silent? Most of us don't know, because we've never built our self-worth without an audience. But here's the truth, the people you're trying to impress are just as lost as you. They're scrolling, performing, editing their own image, waiting for the same approval you're chasing. We're all in a loop, desperately trying to feel enough by getting others to reflect it back to us. But approval isn't connection, it's control. Because the moment your peace depends on someone's reaction, you've handed them the remote to your emotions. You can't be free like that. You can't grow like that. You'll live your whole life asking, "Am I okay?" and hoping the world says, yes. But freedom comes when you realize you were already enough before anyone ever noticed. Here's the tool that changes everything. It's 2 phrases, simple, subtle, but powerful beyond measure. Let them. Let me. Someone misunderstands you? Let them. Someone talks behind your back? Let them. Someone thinks you're too much, too loud, too quiet, too anything? Let them. You don't need to correct them. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to chase them down and convince them you're worthy. You let them have their opinion. And then, you return your attention to yourself. Let me keep growing. Let me stay kind. Let me focus on the life I want to build. You stop giving them the power to define your identity. You stop putting your worth on trial in someone else's courtroom. Because the truth is, you can't control what anyone thinks. No matter how perfect you are, no matter how careful you are, no matter how much you sacrifice your authenticity to fit in, people will still misunderstand you, still project their fears onto you, still twist your words, and that's okay, because your job was never to manage their perception. Your job is to stay rooted in your truth. Let them say what they want. Let them misunderstand. Let them gossip. Let them drift away. And let you be free. Let you speak honestly. Let you be seen, even if some people turn away. Let you walk your path, even if no one claps for you. You'll realize something profound. The world doesn't need to approve of you for your life to be meaningful. You're allowed to live quietly, to grow privately, to walk with dignity, even when no one notices. This is not about apathy. This is about authority, emotional authority. You're saying, I no longer give strangers the power to shape my self-worth. You don't need a committee to confirm that your soul is real. You don't need a round of applause to know your journey matters. You only need one thing: the courage to say, let them, and the wisdom to say, let me. So if you've spent your life trying to fit in, if you've quieted your voice just to feel safe, if you've ever wondered, will I ever be free of what they think of me? Then hear this. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to understand yourself. You are not here to impress the world. You are here to express your soul. And yes, It's hard. It's hard to let go of who they wanted you to be. It's hard to stand in your truth when silence follows. But it's even harder to live a life that never felt like your own. So today, just for today, release the weight of their opinions. Come home to your own voice. Breathe in your freedom like it was always yours, because it was. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be real. And if you can hold that truth, even when it's quiet, even when it's lonely, you'll finally understand. Peace doesn't come from being liked. It comes from no longer needing to be.